Thank you very much. As usual, it's always great to be here in Phoenix with this beautiful community. And this is actually a continuation of the Shabbaton. I see some faces that were not here on Shabbat. Baruch Hashem. Better late than never. And we have one more lecture tomorrow night. What time?
7 o'clock.
7 sharp. Not Bukharian time. I told Angela I'm becoming Bukharian. 8:30 I have time to make coffee. I was supposed to be here. Good I didn't come. It will be me and Rabbi Baruch alone. 7 o'clock. You know why tomorrow it's going to be on time? Because right after the lecture I have my flight. I can't be late. I finish the lecture and I go to the airport, Bezrat Hashem. Now we're going to speak about 2 topics combined. 2 topics. We're going to speak about what Hashem wants from us, especially in these days, these critical days to the world and to the nation of Israel. And we're going to speak about the Jewish home. And I combine them together. Try to do Bezrat Hashem. We spoke earlier today in the morning about parenting, when you know it's relates to the situation in a house. And I'm going to speak about some of the things we didn't speak this morning. As you know, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world, right in the beginning of the creation, in the 6 days he created Adam, the first man on earth. And then the Torah says something very important. The Torah says, Vayar Hashem, and Hashem saw, Ki lo tov heyot Adam levado. It's not good for Adam to be alone here without a female. So he decided to make him a companion, a partner. And he made his wife, Chava. From this pasuk, we see that if a man doesn't have a woman, he has a problem. Because Hashem said, a man without a woman, it's a problem. Gemara says it clearly. And a person that didn't get married, he didn't fulfill his obligation yet. Not always it's depend on him. But if you really check carefully, you see that most of the single guys and girls, it's their fault. Most of them. They don't know it sometimes, but if you analyze their life, you see it's their fault. Sometimes it's their parents' fault. Sometimes the parents, they want to help them very much, but they ruin their life. How can it be? I'll give you one example. If a girl went to seminary, she's a nice tzaddiket, and let's say she's a Sephardic, and she met an Ashkenazi guy. And her father, his dream was that she's going to have a Sephardic husband. If it's Bukharian, Bukharian. If it's Persian, Persian. If it's Moroccan, Moroccan. You know, Syrian, Syrian. That's how it goes. Every nationality dream that their kids will bring the same thing. From our own people, Rabbi. The problem is that if the shidduch, if the soulmate was in our hand, then why not? I'm entitled to choose whatever I want. The problem is that the boss of the world, he is the one who decides who marries who. And I promise you that the last thing on his mind is Sephardi, Ashkenazi, Persian, Kafkazi, Bukhari, Polish. These things is the last thing in his list. When he put a soul together, he say Jewish male and a Jewish female. Even if they have different culture is just an excuse. There are great relationship between Sephardic and Ashkenazic in this generation, tens of thousands of couples with great kids, with great marriage. Even me, my wife is Ashkenazi. I taught her how to cook Sephardic food, and everything is fine. She cook everything spicy, very good. Now, she used to like a filter fish. She can't look at that anymore. That's it. You convert your wife to be what you are and finish. It's no big deal. Be'emet, the things that people are worried about are not so important. And if the father doesn't let her marry the guy that she likes, they offer her a very nice shidduch, And she wants, but she cannot go against her parents. The parents make problem. We're not going to pay for the wedding. We're not going to come to the wedding. All this nonsense that I hear every day. She may lose her shidduch for the rest of her life. And that's it. And then 20 years later, she dies single, or 40 years later, and it's all the father's fault. If he only knew what punishment Hashem will give him for ruining his daughter's life or son's life, he will never dare to say, don't marry him because he's such and such. No. However, if the boy, whatever he is, Faradi, Ashkenazi, all I told you, it's all nonsense. But if he's not tzaddik, then the father must do something about it. If he's into drugs, of course. If he's not touching Torah, doesn't learn Torah, doesn't come in the morning to pray, if he's not an honest person, then the parents has all the rights and the obligation to interfere with that before it's going to be too late. And at least they know they're clean. They did what Hashem wants them to do. This is the rules. First, when you come to marry your children, when they offer you shidduch, the most important thing, you have to check the irat shamayim of that person. How much fear he has from Hashem, how much respect he has for the religion. That's before everything. Then after that comes all the rest of the things. Nice looking, they have money, they don't have money. All the rest of the things that people worry about has to be secondary. First, most important thing, 95% of the marriage is how much irat shamayim that person has. If he's a person that fears from Hashem, everything can be worked out with him. Everything. If he's a little bit lazy, you're going to teach him Torah, he will get out of it. If he's not learning enough Torah, you teach him a little bit Musar, you're going to see an improvement. If he's not such a great husband, he doesn't give enough attention to his wife, 1 hour the rabbi speaks to him, the problem is he's corrected. Why? Because he has Irat Shamayim. If he doesn't have Irat Shamayim, you talk to him for 70 years, nothing changed. Nothing changed. So that's the most important thing. This is the first thing. Then comes all the rest of the things. Then everything else is secondary. So, same thing when sending kids to yeshivot. If there is a good Sfaradic yeshiva in your place that teach Torah and they give their heart to the children, then of course it's better for you to send them to learn your roots, your tradition. But if the Ashkenazi yeshiva, it's a much higher level, you have to do everything to send them over there, even though they're going to speak a little bit strange. Sa, we, things that we don't understand so much, doesn't matter. It's also not important. It's important that they're going to teach them to be righteous people with Irat Shamayim, and that's what counts in the eyes of Hashem. Everything else is the Yetzer Hara advice. No, but we are like this, we talk like this, they talk like this, we dress like this, they dress like this. It's all nonsense. Who cares about these things? If we really think about it, Hashem doesn't care about all these things. He only cares, you keep Shabbat 100%, only 50%. That's what he cares. You put tefillin every day. You pray, you give tzedakah, you honest in the business. That's regardless what you are. Doesn't matter from what country you come. We have to be aware of it. Today, it's very hard for the people to keep the religion. Why? Because there's not enough emunah. If a person has emunah in the Torah like our grandparents used to have a few generations ago, none of our grandparents needed proof that the Torah is from Hashem. None of them needed the proof that there is Olam Haba, that Hashem is going to pay us in the next life for everything we do, or God forbid punish us. None of them needed that. They asked the Chafetz Chaim 100 years ago, Rabbi, why we invented videos in our generation? Why Hashem waited 3,200 years after Matan Torah to give people the intelligence to make video machine and television that you can look at the screen and see your entire life on a video? Your bar mitzvah, when you had a boy 10 years ago, you see it now, it's live. Why Hashem didn't do it many years ago? The Chafetz Chaim answered, until this generation, everybody knew when you die, you go in front of Hashem and you see your entire life in video, everything. Every beep came out of your mouth. Every time you got angry at your wife. Every time you have a fight with a person. Every time you cheated. Everything is going to be revealed. That's why people were afraid to do things, because they know one day I'm going to have to face the embarrassment. Today, Hafetz Chaim say, people starting to doubt that. There was the Askala movement in Ashkenaz, in Europe, that started to send Ashkenazi guys instead of yeshivot to colleges. In Berlin, in Hamburg, in München, Munich. And slowly, these Ashkenazi Jews that used to be yeshiva bachurim, or sons of yeshiva bachurim, slowly started to become very modern Germans, or very modern Hungarians, and the rest, it's obviously known. So it started 200 years ago. It started with Moshe Mendelssohn, 200 years ago. An Ashkenazi rabbi, Orthodox, that sends these kids to college. 10 years later, they all met Christian girls. 20 years later, they were all married to Goyot and converted to Christianity within 20 years. 100 years later, there was Herzl. You heard about Herzl? Believe it or not, his picture is still in the Israeli Knesset, in a parliament in Israel. They still have his picture, even though he's one of the most wicked Jews in history, that Hitler was a tzaddik compared to him. Why? First of all, Hitler is a goy, so if he hates Jews, it's normal. Because Hashem made it that way, that most of the goyim will hate Jews. Why? Because he loves the Jews. He wants to wake them up, so he sends around us always threats to wake us up. If all the goyim would love us and open the door for us and admire us like they should, not one Jew would left in the world. What's one of the main reasons that Jews are afraid to marry the goyim? They don't know what's going to be one day. Her father, her uncle, I'm going to a place, who knows who, they hate us, whatever's going to be, so they're afraid. If they'll be the nicest one, come on, what, Rabbi? I have great life over there. So he wrote a letter to the Pope. Give me some time, and we're going to raise all our children to be Catholic. And we will avoid the anti-Semitism. You won't need to hate us anymore. We're just going to be one of you. That's his letter to the Pope. And this is the hero of the Zionist movement in Israel, the communists, when they're anti-religion, that's their hero. 60 years later, Hashem got tired of this movement, and he saw that Europe became 80% not religious. 80% of the Ashkenazi Jews were merry goyim, eating not kosher, mechalel Shabbat, colleges, lawyers, doctors, just like today in America. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu decided that it's time to wake everybody up. And he took 6 million of them out of this world in one shot. A third of the Jewish nation was erased in 3 years. It should have been enough for the people who came after to wake up and see that when Hashem is punishing, he's serious about it. It's not a joke. But here you go, we are 60% after and we didn't learn anything. The same intermarriage problem, the same secular Jews, the same speeches against the Torah, the same colleges sending their kids to places that Hashem doesn't like, everything the same. Same, just as you look at that today, we are exactly like before the Holocaust. We didn't learn anything. This is the situation. So, after that, Baruch Hashem, in the last 20 years, there are a tshuva movement in the world. Many Jews coming back to Hashem slowly. And they're going slowly to the roots of their parents. So the Hafetz Chaim says, today, in this generation, people have doubts if there is world to come. They're not so sure if there's going to be a trial like the Torah say. They think, how is it possible that Hashem is going to show me my 70 years in details? How? How exactly? It's gone. How exactly they're going to bring it back in front of my eyes? So Hashem made video. It used to be big rolls with tapes. 8 years ago, it wasn't VCR like today, DVDs. So it used to be big roles. In the beginning, you remember the Charlie Chaplin black and white movie from 50, 60 years ago? That's how it used to be. But still, you see people from yesterday you film, today you see what happened yesterday. So people were shocked. Wow, on a piece of tape, you're able to see your whole life? They started to wake up. If Hashem gave people intelligence to make recording equipment, it's needless to say that Hashem can record everything. But we don't need that. The Torah says, עין רואה ואוזן שומעת וכל מעשיך בספר נכתבים. There's an eye who watch over you, and there's an ear who listens to you, and everything you do is being registered in a book of God. One guy came to make a scene with a woman. He takes her to the hotel after he put tons of perfume and fixed his hair and everything, the whole show. Tonight I'm going to make a scene. He comes to the room, and guess what? He sees that the cleaning lady, this Goya over there, that she cleans the room. She said, "How are you, senor?" He looked at her, now he's embarrassed. He doesn't know her. She works in a hotel. He doesn't know her. But he got embarrassed. Why? This nice woman that cleans the room, she already gave me a look. She knows why I'm here. How can I right away pretend that he's looking for his key? Did you find key here? He's embarrassed. He got out. The next day he came. He hoped that this cleaning lady won't clean the room when he goes in. Guess what he found? Inside he found a little kid, 2, 3 years old, holding a lollipop and looking at him, staring at him like this. He said, "Hey, what are you doing here? Go to mommy, go." The kid doesn't want to move. He tried to push him out of the room. He begins to scream. So, okay, he said to the girl, "Bad luck, what can we do? We'll come back tomorrow." The next day he comes back. He see a dog. So what's going on in this hotel? Every time, every room they give me is a problem. He see there's a dog, watch him like this, stares at him, the dog. He tried to push the dog out. The dogs go crazy. So, okay, relax. Say to her, let's go. That's it, no luck. Forget about it. That's the story. Why I'm telling you now this story? A person comes to Hashem after 100 years. He comes to heaven, to court of heaven, and Hashem will show him that day that he came and left. The next day he came and left. The next day he came and left. And then he's gonna hear such a scream. "Tell me, I am worse than a dog for you? In front of the dog you were embarrassed to make a scene, but in front of me you don't care? 70 years I feed you, I give you oxygen, I gave you a book of laws, Parnasa I gave you a wife, you're able to walk, to eat, to enjoy life, to get up every morning. And guess what? 70 years, everything I gave you, you take, you never say thank you. Not only you don't say thank you, you take it from me, and you use it against me." Very nice. Where are we gonna hide from the embarrassment? One time one guy asked me, "Tell me, you say that everything Hashem does is good. Everything Hashem does is for the good. Why Hashem made forgetness, that we forget things? I drove the other day, by the time I got home, I realized I forgot my key. I couldn't enter home, I had to travel all the way back to the party where I was to get the key, and then to go back again. Big hassle. Why we forget things? It's not perfect. It would be better off if we never forget. So I told him, I'll tell you why. What happens if a person gets a phone call, "Mr. X, yes, we're very sorry to tell you your mother just died in an accident." What happened to that person? He falls on the floor, he begins to scream, to cry. If he was eating steak, well done, $50 steak just came out of the grill, and he's like, "Oh, I'm starving." As soon as he gets the phone call, can he finish the steak? If he was in the middle of a business conversation, convincing somebody to buy a diamond, from the moment that he heard that, does he care about the diamond? Does he care about anything? Nothing. What does he care right now? About this tragedy. So he falls on the floor, he screams. The next day is very upset. The next day is very upset. But after a week, people who come to the Shiva, to pay a Shiva call, every day he looks a little bit less bad than yesterday. A little bit better, a little bit better. By the 7th day, you see a little bit smile already. A month later, when they go back to the cemetery, he smokes his cigarette, talk on the phone. How are you, Avi? Wow, a month ago I saw you. We couldn't even, I couldn't even say hello to you. Thank you. Couldn't even say hello to you. Why? You were on the floor crying. The cure for all the tragedies that we have, that Hashem made us a system that we're forgetting things. Forgetness. Why? Because Hashem didn't want us, for the first tragedy that we have in our life, to fall on the floor and cry to the rest of our life until we die. If we wouldn't forget, we will sit forever and ever in the same situation. Why? Even a year later, it's exactly like it happened. You don't forget. Even 20 years later, it's like it just happened. So in the first punishment that Hashem give a person, his life would be over. So Hashem gave us such a gift that we're able to go on with our life, and we forget what just happened. And what did we do with that gift? We took it and we used it against him. We forgot him. You understand? And I know what you're going to say. What do you mean, Rabbi? Most of us, we keep Shabbat, we keep kosher, we do this, we do that. Yeah. But if you check your life every day, you see that most of the hours you forget him. When you do business, when you eat, when you do Birkat Hamazon. Most people, when they do Birkat Hamazon, do you think they think about one word of what they're saying? Their mind is here, their mind is there. My cousin is coming tomorrow. What is my wife cooking for dinner? He's traveling. He's traveling. Traveling. Maybe we should say, instead of Birkat Hamazon, Birkat HaDerech. Because you go on a trip now. Say Birkat HaDerech. Anyway, so Hashem created Adam and Chava, and He said to Adam, He says to humanity, "Lo tov heyot ha'adam levado, e'aseh lo ezer kenegdo." There are 3 kinds of wives: good, mediocre, and very bad. Now I think everybody here thinking, which one of the 3 I am? The Torah says, Zacha ezer, lo zacha kenegdo. If he has the merit, ezer means help, assistance. A wife help him in everything. If he's not, she becomes kenegdo, against him. How does a person know if Hashem loves him or not? By the way his wife treats him. The wife is the mirror of Hashem. The more resistance the wife give him, it's a signal from Hashem that he's not satisfied from him. One guy came to Rav Elyashiv, the biggest Rav in the world, 96 years old. He's in Yerushalayim. Rav Elyashiv sits there in a room all day and all night learning Torah. He sleeps 2 hours a night. Very holy person. 60 years he didn't move from the stand there where he was sitting and learning from morning to night. 60 years the same life. Sitting, learning all day. Everybody saw. From morning to night. Today he's in his house. Somebody made a little film about him and put it on the internet to see how his life is. Very simple house. All the important people from all over the world coming to him for advice. He sits there with the Gemara and learn all his life. That's what he does. It got to a point that my cousin, my cousin is a very big Rav in Yerushalayim. He's also a Kabbalist, very big tzaddik, also learned. He's following the steps of Rav Elyashiv, but he's still much younger than him, so he has many years to go. So the students brought him the grandson of Rav Elyashiv to get a bracha from him. He didn't know he's his grandson. So they brought one young guy in his 20s. He said, "Rabbi, can you give him a bracha?" No problem. He's about to give him a bracha. Then somebody told him, "Rabbi, this is the son of the grandson of Rav Elyashiv, 4th generation." Yeah, Rav Elyashiv have a son, grandson, and that's the son of the grandson. 4 generations. He said, this is the so he said, you are the grandson of the most important person in the world, and you come to me for bracha? How can it be? So the guy said, listen, what do I have to lose? We're already here. Yeah. So then he says to him, I'm giving you a bracha in one condition. What? That you tell me something, some story about your grandfather. Something, to cheer, to wake us up. He said, I'll tell you the truth. I was just in his home for 4 months. They put me over there to take care of him. I'm going there, I'm sleeping there every night. So my cousin asked him, no, what can you tell me? He said, what can I tell you? 4 months I'm there, 4 months. He didn't speak to me one word. Not one time. How are you? Hello? I need something. What time you coming back? Not one word. Not one sentence. Nothing. One word didn't come out of his mouth to me. All he does is he learns Torah. I come in, I come out. He's always with the books. I don't even know if he knows that I'm there or not. You understand? Someone that connects to Hashem, he doesn't have time to ask somebody, how are you?
Is it right?
Hard to believe. This is in our generation. Hard to believe. One time the Jordanians in a war shot a missile to his neighborhood. In his neighborhood, the missile hit something and there's a huge fire started. Everybody started to run in the neighborhood. Fire, fire! He was sitting and learning. So somebody came to him and said, Rabbi, follow us. There's a big fire here. So he went like this. 10 minutes later, he was in the middle of learning. There was a tower full of water. You know the tower, the water towers? In Israel, they have in neighborhoods towers. Another Jordanian missile came right into that tower. Exploded the tower, tons of water spilled all over and put the fire off. Just when he was about to come to his house, to his apartment. Why? He doesn't get up from the Gemara. Hashem said, I got to do something about it. You understand?
Does he ever sleep?
Yeah, 2 hours a night he sleeps. 2 hours a night. Now he's 97 years old. You get depressed when you see what's going on around us. Okay, we're not in this level. What can we do? Let's be realistic. So Hashem put a person with his wife. One guy came to this Rav Eliashiv and said, Rabbi, since I got married, I cannot learn anymore. My wife is such a nudnik every hour. Moshe, can you help me? Can you come be babysitter? Can you go to the supermarket? Can you do this? Can you come with me to the doctor? I don't feel comfortable, be alone there. Why don't you help me? Why? So what? I can learn. What did I get married for? Rav Eliashiv, wait, let him talk. Then, excuse me, it wasn't Rav Eliashiv. I just remember, it was the Chazon Ish. The previous biggest rabbi in the world. He passed away, I think, about 45 years ago. He speak. He gave the Chazon Ish a whole speech. After he finished, the Chazon Ish told him, you and I know that everything you told me is not true. It's all your fault. So the guy said, Rabbi, I just told you what's happening every day. He said, no, if Hashem would be happy from you, your wife will never dare to make a beep to disturb you from your Torah learning. The only reason she disturb you is because Hashem is not happy from you. If you would be perfect, Hashem would occupy your wife with other nonsense, not with you. Don't worry about it. Yeah. Why it doesn't happen to him? I can learn all day. Why? When you want to learn, that's what the Torah promised. Birtzot Hashem darkei ish, gam oivav yashlim imo. When Hashem is satisfied from the way of a man, even his enemies make peace with him and surrender to him. The Chazal ask, who is his enemies? They say, oivei ish anshe beto. The enemies of the person is his own family members. If he doesn't have the merit. The kids, the wife, they drive him crazy. Every 5 minutes, phone call from the yeshiva. Finally, I solved the problem. 10 minutes later, from a different yeshiva. Mr. X, your son is not learning. What's going on? There's any problem in the house? Can you come over? The next day, Mr. X, you didn't pay tuition. Mr. X, you didn't do this. It drives him crazy. If he learns Torah, Chazal says, 2 signs you know that Hashem is satisfied from you. That all your enemies made peace with you, include your wife and your children, they never disturb you, they cooperate with you in everything you need. Or that the insects, the flies, they never bite you. Never. Oh, I bite my whole body. The mosquitoes, they leave you alone. Even they leave you alone. That's how far it can go. It's hard to believe. I have a friend, Rabbi Yaakov Stefansky. He's alive. Maybe he's 60 years old by now. His wife passed away from cancer, I think 7-8 years ago. The funeral of this woman was in Monsey. It's something that I wish they'll film it on video and show it to the whole world. What people have to say about a righteous Jewish woman. She was the manager of Beis Yaakov for the girl running the whole school. And one time he came to me after she passed away and he says, I need help. I say, yeah, what can I do for you? He said, I need to borrow $2,000. Urgent, emergency. So I said, no problem, relax, okay, we'll give you $2,000. But we started to talk, and he said, you know why I need to borrow $2,000? So until now, my wife was taking care of everything. Not once in my life I saw how a check looks. I don't know any bills. I never wrote a check. 30 years! I did not step once into a store. Not even once. Not once in my life I was in a store. Since I left yeshiva, I got married. I've been married to her for 30 years. From the day I married until now, not once I went to a supermarket, a store, vegetable place, to buy shoes, anything. Everything she did. She raised the kids. She brought parnasa home. She did everything. 5 years, out of these 30 years, I went up to the attic in my house. I locked myself there, and I didn't even come down except the bathroom. 5 years, I was in the attic. She's alone with the kids without a husband. Every time I ask her from upstairs, are you okay? You're managing with the bills, with the mortgage, with everything? She said, why are you bothering yourself? I'm doing perfect. Stay there and learn Torah. He said, when I came down after 5 years, so most of my Torah that I know today, I learned in those 5 years. When I came down, I found out that we're months behind on the mortgage, with this, with that. She didn't make one beep. In her funeral, was crying and saying, even yesterday when I went to sit next to her in a hospital, she hardly can talk, she told him, what are you doing here? Why are you wasting your time here sitting? Go and learn Torah, it's a waste of time. So I told her, what? I have to be with you. No, it's better for me you go and learn Torah. This is in our generation. Like in Gemara time. Why Hashem took her? If he wouldn't take her, he would have to take 100,000 Jews. So he took her instead. That's what the Torah says. Dodi arad legano. Sometimes when there's a big tragedy coming to the Jewish nation, chas v'shalom, instead of killing so many people, like in Haiti or in all the other places that it happens, tragedies, Hashem takes one righteous Jew and replace 100,000 with one tzaddik, and he takes the tzaddik away. Dodi arad legano lilkot shoshanim. Chazal says, it's in Shir HaShirim. What does it mean, shoshanim? A rose. A rose that grows in a place with millions of thorns. Million secular Jew, one tzaddik there. If Hashem had to kill the million, instead of that he takes the tzaddik to heaven. Everybody cries for the tzaddik that he left us. And that's instead of killing all these people. He still give them chance to correct. Maybe one day they'll also be righteous. Why people complaining so much? Reuven says to his friend Shimon, I want you to take this bag all the way up to the mountain. By the time you get to the mountain, my friend Levi over there is waiting. The bag is full of diamonds, so you have to be very careful. Make sure you don't lose it. When you get all the way up there, my friend Levi is waiting for you. He knows you're coming. But I want to thank you already. You're doing me a great favor. I know it's very hot outside. And this guy Shimon takes the bag and he begins to climb on a mountain. I was right there in Arizona, 120 degrees in August. He goes all the way up in the mountain, in the desert. After 3 minutes, he's dripping sweat, his back hurts. He begins to say, what a fool I am. Why do I need this headache now? I always volunteer. He's cursing the day he was born. Then, in the meantime, this guy, Reuven, that sends him, he watched him all the time to see his behaving. In the first minute, he was walking nicely. Second minute, already angry. Third minute, he kick every rock, every door, he throws his, he goes crazy. Now, guess what? His wife called. When a person is angry, who is his first address to take all his anger on? A poor wife. Vicky, why are you calling? How many times I told you drive me crazy? What? I'm trying to tell you some good news. Don't bother me. He's ready to kill her now. Tov. Then the guy sees that things getting out of control, this guy Reuven, so he gives him a call. He picks up the phone. Yes. I have a call. Maybe it's him. All right, so, yes, what can I do for you now? So, forgive me, I just forgot one little detail. What is it? I was afraid maybe he wants to climb on another mountain. He said, when you get there all the way up to the mountain, my friend Levi is going to choose one diamond from the bag, and all the rest of the diamonds are yours for the efforts that you go all the way in such a weather and climb to the mountain for us. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Now what happened to this guy Shimon? Look, he picked up the bag. 2 steps up, 2 steps down. He became a chassid, dancing. Now, the poor girl Vicky, she had to call again. Right? She calls, Moshe, Shimon, don't get angry. No, darling, don't worry. I'm sorry, I apologize. Please forgive me. What happened? He runs up there like the marathon runner. This is him. We laugh at him, but this is us exactly. Why? Everything that we do in religion is so hard to do. Why? To give tzedakah, disappointed, depressed. No, business is bad. Rabbi, please understand us. To wake up in the morning, wow, again, freezing. Why they make the shachrit at 7 o'clock? They can't start at 10 o'clock. What's going on here? This rabbi is too fanatic. What's going on here? You know, everything hard. Woman has to dress modest. Oh, well, I love the other outfit. Hashem will understand me, Rabbi. I'm still young, you know. Maybe in 20 years I'll take the other one. Everything is hard. Why? Because we think that we volunteer for nothing. So, we think we do it for nothing. If a person would see the reward of every little mitzvah he does, I promise you, he wouldn't stop for 1 second. He wouldn't stop for 1 second. 1 second he wouldn't stop. If a person see for every word of Torah that comes out of his mouth, how much he just earned, do you think somebody would leave the book for a second? Not 1 second. Why? People have time. Most people don't touch the book whole week. Chok l'Israel, 15 minutes in the morning. Baruch Hashem, very good. Why? They don't believe in Hashem. They don't believe in Hashem. There's no other explanation. Why a man is not nice to his wife? How can it be? The Torah say that the most important thing in the life of a person is his wife. If a person helps the whole world, is Avraham Avinu. He brings people, he feeds them, he gives them money, he supports them, he gives them all kinds of gifts. He builds a shul, he supports the yeshiva, whatever you can think of. But he's nasty to his wife. Everything he did counts 0 in Shamayim. Should know the truth. 0. Why? What is it like? It's like stealing money from one Jew and give charity that money to another Jew. Doesn't count. You cannot make mitzvot at the expense of another Jew. You understand? I'll give you an example. I cannot take someone's money from his wallet and go give it to a poor guy I just saw on the street. Let's say I cannot afford to give him money to the poor guy, but my neighbor has a lot of money. I go into his pants, I take $100 and I give it to the poor guy. Count as a mitzvah for me? Count as a sin. Sin. So when I come to Hashem, I say, Hashem, what do you want from me? What, I took it for myself? What? You didn't see? So Hashem would answer, didn't you read in my Torah that I already gave the answer to this scenario? Mitzvah abba be'avera ena mitzvah. Mitzvah that you make through a sin is not a mitzvah. I give you another example. If a person go to the shul on Sukkot and he doesn't have a lulav, and he saw somebody's lulav on a table, and he takes the lulav and shake, it doesn't count as a mitzvah. Only if the guy, the owner of the lulav, give it to him as a gift, even for a minute, then he does the mitzvah and he returns it to him as a gift, it counts. But if he did it without permission, it's nothing. Mitzvah abba ba'avera. Why it doesn't count? I didn't change the lulav. The guy won't even know. He comes back, he sees the lulav is on the table. Why? Because at the moment that I was holding it, I didn't have permission. Every second that it was in my hand, I had an obligation to return a stolen object to the owner. Since I have an obligation to return it, I cannot do anything else with it. The fact that I made another mitzvah with that counts zero, nothing. If the wife sits home and depressed and cry, and her husband makes everybody else happy, and she's depressed at home, all his mitzvot count to the sitra achra. Why? Because he didn't care about his own partner to the life. You cannot do mitzvot in a business when your partner doesn't agree. You cannot take charity from the business and give it to people when the partner doesn't want. So, one time, my cousin told me, how many times a week you give lectures? I told him every night, 2 lectures a night. That was, I don't know, about 7, 8 years ago, something like that. He told me, what? Every night? And what do you do with your wife? She's alone at home every night? I say, yes. She said, well, I don't understand. She agrees? I say, sometimes she agrees, sometimes she's not so happy. Depend on what's happening that week. So he told me, let me tell you what Rav Ben Zion Abba Shaul told me, the biggest Faradic rabbi in the world. It was only 2-3 years after he passed away. It was many years ago. He passed away, I think, 10 years ago. And that story was about 7-8 years ago. And that was his rabbi. He told me, I also used to give lectures. Not 2 a night every night. 2, 3 times a week. In Kiruv, making people religious in Israel. And one time he told me, is your wife agreeing, approving? So I told him, same thing. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Depends what we have. So he told me, stop right away. So I told him, Rabbi, I'm saving souls every night. That's the biggest mitzvah in Judaism. To save souls? Read what the Zohar has to say about this. If you read what the Torah and the Zohar says about the person that makes other Jews religious, with his mouth, with his money, with his hospitality, with any way that's possible, you won't stop doing it for 1 second of your life. It's the biggest profit. Biggest. Why? Because every mitzvah they do, every mitzvah these people do from now on counts like you did. You duplicate yourself. What does it mean? You are one person. You made another person religious. Now if your name is Moshe, now there is 2 Moshe. You put tefillin, that guy put tefillin, it's count Moshe put tefillin twice. What happened if that guy you made religious made another 2 guys religious? Now there are 4 Moshe. What happened is this guy have now 4 kids, now there is 8 Moshe. Multiply it by 20, 30 years, you have 1 million Moshe. You get up in the morning, already 1 million mitzvot was done to your account. Did you know that? That's how it works. That's why it's very good. Now you may say, okay, but we can't stand in front of audience and talk. We don't have the knowledge, and even if we have the knowledge, we don't have the confidence, to do it. It's not so simple. So how are we going to do it? 2 ways. Sponsor CDs, DVDs, just take a bunch, whatever it is, $1 each, and you give it to every non-religious Jew you know. You give them 2, 3. Half of them guarantee will become religious. Half of them, I promise you. One way or the other. If not immediately, 3 years later. Why? The first accident they'll have, they'll remember the CD I watched. Now, if an accident happened to them, they look at that as coincidence. Bad luck. I shouldn't have left home that day. It was snowing. Now, first thing goes to their mind, God, don't punish me, please. Have mercy on me. Give me a chance. I promise you I change. Why? You remember the CD. Hashem has many ways to wake up the people. It doesn't go 1, 2, 3 and finished. First, it's the seed in the ground. A year later is a tree. Everything, it's a process. You gave him the CD. How much it cost you? $1. He watched it. Wow, I didn't know. Religion is real. God is real. The Torah is real. Everything is real. But it's not for me now. I'm young. I'm still in a disco every night. I'm with Christine. Come on. Rabbi. Don't worry. I promise you I'll be religious one day. But not now. Give me another year or 2, then we talk. Come back in 2 years. But Hashem has his own plan. He waits 2, 3 months. He sends him a signal, another thing, another video, another book. One guy comes and says, did you put tefillin today? Come, put tefillin. He sends him signals. But this guy ignoring it. All of a sudden, boom! He woke up. Hey, the next thing, he comes to the Rabbi, I want to do Birkat HaGomel. You understand? One thing leads to another. Usually, unfortunately, people do not want to follow the truth until they have no choice. Their stupidity makes them wake up only when it's a little bit already too late. The smart guy, as soon as he finds the truth, right away he doesn't leave it. For 1 second. Every day you see, what can I do more? The only way to grow for men and for women is to learn a lot of Torah, to get books, to buy books, to listen to lectures. Every lecture in town, I'm the first one there. Why? If you don't learn, you do not get any improvement. Nobody can become religious by not learning Torah every day. Can somebody close the door and keep it closed for the rest of the lecture? Closed. It's a problem. Thank you. So, one father sent his son. The son wanted to go overseas with his friend. I don't know, maybe I told you once this story, but it's worth to hear it again. So the son said, Abba, I want $10,000 for my trip. Did you hear that story? So the father said, I'm willing to give you the money in one condition, that you promise me that you're going to start putting tefillin every day. You heard or no? Everybody heard? No. Okay, good. For one person, it's worth it to hear again. So the father says to him, if you promise me you put tefillin every day, 2 weeks from now, you tell me, I trust your word, that you put tefillin every day, I wire you $10,000 to wherever you're going to be. The boy say, deal, father, let's go. He gives him tefillin, and he goes with his friend. 2, 3 days later, the guy calls to protect his investment. Abba, you preparing the money? I'm a good boy, yeah? You put tefillin yesterday? Yeah. Today? Yeah, sure, wow. A deal is a deal, no? Okay. Few days later, Abba, you ready? You getting ready? I'm about to give you the account number. My money is ready, my friend. Don't worry. You put tefillin all week? Every day. No problem. Then 13 days after, they made a deal for 2 weeks at least. And then he has to put tefillin for the rest of his life. But after 2 weeks, he gets the money. 13 days later, he calls to the father. No, you ready to wire the money? Tomorrow it's going to get here, yeah? Father says, sure. You put tefillin for 13 days? Say, Abba, what a nudnik you are. How many times you ask me this? Wow, you make me feel bad already. Why? You never trusted me. So the father say, you little lousy fool. You put tefillin every day, huh? So how come you didn't see that I put $10,000 inside the tefillin pouch? You put tefillin every day, huh? You didn't even open the tefillin, you liar. You understand? This is us. Hashem, why you don't send parnasa? Hashem will say, don't be a fool. The parnasa was sent to you a long time ago. But what's happening? Your wife ruining it. Look how she dressed on the street. It doesn't get to you. I'm very sorry. I wrote it down for you on Rosh Hashanah. I wrote it down. It was wired on Rosh Hashanah. It didn't enter your hand because of the way your wife walk on the street, my friend. Didn't you see that I wrote in the Torah that the modesty of the wife affect the parnasa of the house? Didn't you read? First I wrote that a wife that is modest, her kids will be Talmidei Chachamim, righteous, thanks to her modesty. Did you read that? Yeah. Then I said that the parnasa and the blessing of the money, not only how much money. If there's going to be blessing in the money, it's depend mainly about the wife. How much is going to make and how they're going to enjoy the money, it's only to do with the wife. What's the connection? The connection is that the Zohar, the Kabbalah explain that everything that we have in this material world has a spiritual root in heaven. It's like a tree. Everything comes from one root. The tree, the branches, the leaves, one thing comes out of the other. But the root is the most important thing. Everything comes from the root. So, in a tree of Hashem, there are branches. One branch has two things coming from that branch. Wife and parnasa, it's from the same branch. One connects to the other. Which means, every time a man look at a married woman that she is attractive to him because she's not modest and enjoy from her beauty and body, that second her husband lost X amount of money. Guarantee. Not yes, sometimes no. Guarantee immediately he lost 100, 1,000, whatever Hashem decides.
I have a question.
Wait, we get to it. I hope you didn't make your husband lose so much money that you get nervous. No, okay, don't worry, wait. Once they will get to you, 1 minute. So, you may ask me, wait a minute. I have a friend, she sometimes forget completely to get dressed when she walk on the street, and her husband has a $10 million house. So how does it work? The answer is, if she would get dressed, her husband would have $1 billion. He only have 10 million because he lost 990 million over the years. If they only knew it, now you may say, okay, I'm okay with 10 million instead of $1 billion, Rabbi. 10 million, no, I take the damage. Wrong. You know why wrong? Money has two sides, physical and spiritual. Depend what you do with that. If you spend money only on nonsense, you're right, it's nothing, it's not important. But if you take the money and save lives, save souls, build yeshivot, support yeshivot, send kids that cannot afford to go to yeshiva, take them out of public school, put them in school, help hospitals, whatever you do, you can turn your $1 billion into trillions of mitzvot to you and your children. 10 million, they went to the house. You have nothing left to get mitzvot. You have $1 billion, there's no end to how much mitzvot you can do. You have no idea what's going on. You have to understand, there's sometimes you build a place and you get lucky. All around the clock, people are sitting and learning Torah in your building, and everything they do goes to your account forever. If you were not wealthy, you couldn't afford to get so much mitzvot. So wealth, it's very important if you know what to do with that. If you take it and use it in the wrong way, you'll be better off be poor. Of course, yeah. Who wants to be rich if all the money goes to the Sitra Achra and to Las Vegas? Of course. But a Jew that understands the Torah, he knows, Hashem gave me this money, I got to get something positive with that. I have to see, where can I invest? Where can I help? Now I can answer your question.
I know ladies that are religious cover their hair, smooth, the whole thing, and they don't have parnasa. What do you have to say about that?
Oh, I never said that if a lady is completely modest, then there's guarantee that the husband will be a millionaire. No. I just say that if she's not modest, You know that because she's not modest, Hashem takes away money from her husband every time she goes like this on the street. However, did you hear about Rabbi Avraham Ibn Ezra? Every Chumash you open, you see his name. Ibn Ezra. It's like Rashi, you have Ibn Ezra. He lived 750 years ago. Ibn Ezra was so poor that sometimes for 3 days he didn't have a slice of bread. He had days in his life, for 3 days he wasn't eating. He was so poor. It was a difficult life, not like today. Today every poor person still have bread in his closet. Even the poorest guy still have bread. Maybe he doesn't have Swiss cheese, or lax, but bread he has. Bread and maybe a cheap cheese he can afford. Or eggs, whatever. So, he couldn't afford sometimes even bread. It wasn't so simple. But he refused to take tzedakah from the wealthy people. I'm not taking tzedakah. I don't care. So his talmidim, his students, they went crazy to see that the rabbi is suffering such poverty. So they decided one time to give him money, but they know he's not going to take it. So they decided that when tomorrow he's going to walk in the street, we know where he comes from. We're going to throw a wallet on the floor and let him find the wallet with hundreds of dollars. He can leave bread for the next 2 years. Doesn't have to worry about bread. So they're all waiting. One guy says, I see him coming. Soon as he makes the turn, they throw the wallet. Then they see he comes with his eyes closed. He walks over it. So what's going on here? Finally, we got him the wallet on the floor. He doesn't pick it up. The next day, one of them said, Rabbi, we saw you yesterday walking in the street with your eyes closed. We want to learn what's the secret here. Can you tell us, according to the Torah, what were you doing? So he said, yesterday morning when I woke up, I felt very bad about my situation. I know I'm not making any sins. I learned Torah all my life. I love Hashem, everything. And I don't have bread to eat. For 3 days I'm hungry. And I'm thinking, well, all these Reshaim around me, fine, I'm not jealous with them. I don't want to have anything they have. Just one slice of bread a day, that's all. And I don't have it. Then I started to feel very bad that I complained to Hashem, even though it was only in my heart. I never dared to say it, but Hashem reads our minds. And I was embarrassed from Hashem that I had the guts to complain, to feel bad about my situation, because I saw one blind person, how miserable he is with his stick, searching for the way and calling, is anybody here, can show me the way? So when I looked at that the blind guy, I felt so grateful to Hashem that my only problem is that my stomach is a little bit empty. So I say, you know what? I want to feel how the real miserable people feel. So I decided for one day I'm going to be like this blind person. And all day I walk like this. And now I feel so great that I'm poor. So one of the Talmidim said, Rabbi, we suggest you go to work in Chevrat Kadisha. If you work in Chevrat Kadisha, nobody will die. You're not supposed to have parnasa. We put a wallet on the floor. Just when you walk, you decided to be blind. You got it. Being poor, it's not an indication of Hashem is not happy from you. It's actually the other way around. But we have to understand that every person has a unique tikkun. Unique. Sometimes you have to be poor all your life. Sometimes you have to be rich all your life. It's overcoming all the rest. You must be rich. If not, there's no point of keeping you here. Sometimes you must be poor. No matter what you do, you must be poor. Sometimes you're going to be on and off. Most people have waves in their life, up and down. There are times that Hashem sends, all of a sudden, the faucet is closed. Then, a year or two later, things are becoming better again. Then he gets fired. Then it's a year until he finds a job. Then he sells one diamond and makes it for the whole year. That's how it is. Why? Because Hashem is testing you in different situations. But sometimes you must be poor. For one reason, I give you one example. You used to be very wealthy before, and you used to depress the poor people, the miserable people. You never help them, you're cruel, you don't care about them, you disrespect them, you never invite them to your parties because you're Mr. Big Shot. Hashem say your tikkun, you're going to be basically homeless. Between the poorest guy, you're going to have such life. Why? Because you used to be very rich. I want you to feel what all these people who knock on your door used to feel when they came to beg you. So it's all midah keneged midah. Now this guy is doing everything he can to become rich. It's not going to help him. Same thing sometimes the other way around. A person used to be poor and he didn't want to take tzedakah. He did everything he can. Hashem said, you know what? On this Gilgul, you're going to be rich. You don't have to worry about parnasah. But I want to tell you something. If the statistic shows that the more rich the person is, of course there's always an exception to the rule. But if the statistics show, you take 100 people, take 100 rich people and take 100 poor people, where are you going to find more tzaddikim?
Poor people.
If you're lucky, you'll find one tzaddik between the 100 wealthy guy. If you're lucky. You go by the poor, 20, 30 of them will be righteous. Not only by the Jews is like that. Go to Mexico. In the rich mansion there, Mexico City, all these mansion, billionaire people with drivers, they have time for Dios. Dios doesn't exist for them. But you go to all these neighborhoods that people eat only tortillas, rice, they cannot afford meat, they don't have car, they work for $50 a month, like slaves. Every second word, gracias a Dios, gracias a Dios. They go churches every block. Why? The more the person is on a need, he connects to Hashem. So it's a blessing. So why everybody wants to be rich? Why? If in the end, what's going to get you to eternity, the best pleasure you can think of will be connection to Hashem. Money, it's a big problem. It's an obstacle. It's not an assistant. However, if you are strong in your emunah, when you get money and you give it out, then it's better than to be poor, for sure. But you know yourself. Sometimes people tell me, Rabbi, I heard it at least 500 times. I'm dreaming, I'm begging Hashem to give me money that I can give you 90% for the CDs. And I said, don't worry, my friend. When you're going to get $1 million that you're dreaming about in your deal, you won't remember my name. Why now you want to give me from all your heart for the CDs? Because you know that's the right thing to do. Since you don't have the money, the Yetzer Hara has no problem with you right now, so he leaves you alone. So that's the real you. The real you want to make other Jews religious. Once the $1 million come to your hand, the Satan sends all his soldiers to you. All of a sudden, the CD, how many people's going to watch it? No, my wife's going to drive me crazy. I have other things to do, Rabbi. Trust me, we do things. You got it? That's the way it works. So anyway, let's move on. A person has to know that he has to respect his wife even more than he loves himself. If he can afford, he has to buy her gifts on the holidays. He should never make comments. He should feel her pain. Rav Simcha Levin used to go to the doctor if his wife had a problem. Let's say one time her leg hurts. He came to the doctor and said, Doctor, our leg hurts. And he felt it 100%. If there is a connection between you and your wife, every little thing she feels, you have to feel. If you don't feel it, something is not right here. A wife, same thing. Wife has to understand where her husband comes from. They work, stress, aggravation, customers drove him crazy, the employees that work for him drove him crazy, his boss drives him crazy, flat tire, this, the check bounce, the manager in the back is calling. There's a lot of pressure in life. A wife has to do everything she can not to bother her husband with too much request. Hell, do this for me, can you go there for me? If she can manage, she has to do everything she can. However, if she can really not manage, not she wants to lay on the couch and read a book, and she send him to work after he worked 10 hours in his store. No. I'm saying a wife that works very hard, and today she's really, really down, she can't move. It's big mitzvah for the husband to help. If the husband doesn't help in a house, he doesn't have any right to make comments why this floor is dirty. Or why the toys are all over the floor. Or why there's no dinner ready. What's the problem? There's no dinner? Take a sandwich, put peanut butter, and eat, and finished. What? Crazy? Yeah? When I leave the house, shh. I hope you're putting the air condition instead of this oven here. They decided to cook me, to make me a turkey for Thanksgiving. I miss the snow in New York. Can you believe this? I never believed that I'll miss the 16 inches in my driveway. Anyway, before I leave the house, my wife asked me what to prepare for you when you come back. I always say nothing. Don't prepare anything. No, I'll put something in the microwave ready. When you come, you heat it up. She already doesn't ask anymore. Nothing. I come home, I take a little pretzel with hummus. I eat 5 minutes, I go to sleep. Big deal. What's the big deal? People are so addicted to this. Rabbi, we want a hot meal, delicious. 10 times he asks his wife, it's not well done enough. Bring it, replace it, give me a soft piece. What are you, a dog? What is this? Focus on the real thing in life. You like this, your kid's going to be like this also. Some kids, you send them to yeshiva. It's a good yeshiva, but you know, the dorm is not so fancy. There's not such a delicious food. If you send him to an Ashkenazi school, they give him gefilte fish for Shabbat. This Bukharian kid that eats like a king. 2 weeks later, he calls his father, Abba, take me out of this yeshiva before I kill myself. Why? They don't care so much about the food. We came here to learn Torah. We care if the room is fancy. But if you raise them like this, they're not going to be able to connect to Hashem. There's no other way, I'm telling you. You will see. Most of you are young and you have young kids. You'll understand me in 10 years. When you send them to some place, you're only going to have to find them a fancy yeshiva. And a fancy yeshiva, the tuition costs double or triple. Because they have more expenses. And then you don't have the money. And then you're going to complain, Rabbi, what kind of religion is this? Only the rich people can go into good yeshivot? No, the poor people also can go to good yeshivot. But your son doesn't want to be in a poor yeshiva with a little dorm with some leaks and there's flood all over the bathroom. He sees it, he's so disgusted, he can't look at that. So he needs a fancy place. So pay. Pay, Habibi. Plus, there's one more thing. If you want your children to really become tzaddikim, you have to know that when you send them to yeshiva, if you can afford the tuition, you have to pay it. It's not a trick to trick them and say, I can't afford to drive a fancy Mercedes and pay only $50 to your children's education and claim that you're bankrupt. No. Why? There's not going to be blessing in your children's education. Why? As I said before, you cannot take advantage on another Jew and think you'll be successful. Cannot. You can't make mitzvot with someone else's money. You have to understand, when you force your children of them, the Rosh Yeshiva has to go and collect charity for him. In New York, they already learned. They say, my friend, somebody has to collect money for your son, and it's not going to be me. It's your responsibility. You pay, and if you don't have the money, go and knock on doors, bring me the money by the end of the month. Why should I run and collect for your son? You collect. It's your son, not mine. However, some Rosh Yeshivot, they are more polite, they're more nice, they're nicer. So they say, okay, the kids is poor, what can we do? Let's make a dinner, fundraising. You understand? The children education, it's the responsibility of the father. He has to do everything he can to bring the money and pay. I'm not saying if they rip you off and they make all kinds of bombastic prices, but at least pay what you really think it costs. It's probably a few $100s a month per boy. Minimum $300 per kid. Minimum. It costs them. It won't be less. With food and everything, and it's a dorm, for sure it won't be less. I don't know, maybe Arizona is cheaper, but I'm talking New York prices.
$1,100 a month.
$1,100 they charge you? It's too much. It doesn't cost them $1,100, but at least $400 or $500 it could be.
And
Okay, so you don't have to pay that much. So you don't have to. You don't have to, but don't come and say I can only pay 50 or 100.
No, 500. They're gonna say go collect money.
No, believe me, some yeshivot, they'll take any kid. The Rosh Yeshiva is tzaddik. He doesn't want these kids to go to public, so he does everything he can. Okay, shh. Let's move on.
I have a question.
Yeah.
You didn't finish the story that you were saying about your friend that used to give shiurim.
My cousin.
Your cousin, and then
Yeah.
I told him not to do it anymore. So what do you?
So my cousin asked him, Rabbi, saving souls is the most important mitzvah. How are you telling me to stop? He said it won't count. There won't be any blessing in it. Why? A rule is a rule by Hashem. It doesn't go by moods. If Hashem said that your wife is not happy, nothing will work out, He meant it. Even saving souls. Even saving souls. Believe it or not. You know, one man, when he had a bar mitzvah, he was 13 years old. His father he was in public school. So his father brought him to the shul to go up to the Torah for the first time. This boy never saw a shul before. So the father says to him, we're going to that shul to get an aliyah for the Torah. So when he got up to the Torah, which shul it was, one of the biggest rabbis at that time, his name was Rabbi Chaim Ozer. Rabbi Chaim Ozer. So Rabbi Chaim Ozer says to the father, when his son got to learn in the Torah, he said, where are you sending your son to learn? So Rabbi is in a public school. So I want you to take him out of there now and put him in yeshiva. So the guy says, no, Rabbi, it's too much money. He has the money, but he just doesn't want. It's okay, let him be a doctor. It's also good. That's the story. In a different place in Israel, in Petach Tikva, they take an old man, 83 years old, and they give him aliyah to the Torah. In Petach Tikva in Israel. So when the old man come up to the Torah, they hold him, they help him out. They open up the Torah. He say, Baruch et Hashem Amvorah. It started to cry. Imagine, in front of the whole shul. He cries. The rabbi gets nervous. You okay? Sir, you okay? They don't know this man. He say, yeah. He begins to cry again and again. Everybody is shocked. Wow, I never had such a thing. Say, may I ask you, the rabbi say, why you are crying? He say, yes, I'll tell you why I'm crying. 70 years ago, when I was a kid, I went up to the shul for the first time in my life, and they gave me an aliyah. And the rabbi told my father, if he's not going to put me in yeshiva and keep me in a public school, the next time I'm going to go up to the Torah will be in 70 years. And I see he was right. 70 years I didn't get aliyah. Today I'm 83. It's exactly what he says. So I'm crying to see that it's happened. He scares. Happened to me. So the rabbi asked him, who was that rabbi? He said, Rabbi Chaim Ozer. Guess what? The shul in Petach Tikva, it's in Rabbi Chaim Ozer Street. The street in Petach Tikva named after him. That shul, that's the school, that's the shul in Petach Tikva. Hashem sent him 70 years. Where? He's a guest in Petach Tikva. Somebody takes him to shul, they give him aliyah 70 years later. The word of a chacham. David HaMelech says, shh, al tiyeh kasus kapered. Don't be like a mule or like a horse. From all the things in the world, why David HaMelech said don't be a horse? Why he didn't say don't be a dog? Why he didn't say don't be a pig? Why horse? What's special about horse? Everything has a reason. Two things about the horse are very interesting. When the horse goes, If somebody rides a horse and he hits the horse, he hit the horse, what happened to the horse? He runs faster. If he hits him again, he runs even faster. Where the horse learned that when somebody hits him, he has to run faster. Usually, it should have been the other way around. When you hit an animal, the animal should pause. What do you want from me? The animal doesn't know. How do you know that maybe you want him to stop? How the horse knows to run fast? That's the question. Second problem with the horse, when the horse goes to drink in a lake, always he goes like this with his leg on the water. Did you see a horse that drink? He goes like this on the water. Why? The horse see another horse on the water. That's him. He doesn't know it's him. So he thinks another horse come to steal my parnasa. So I make him go away like this. He makes wave on the water and the other horse disappeared. Like this I can have all the water for myself. Why he runs very fast? Because he thinks if this guy is hitting me, I'm going to run faster to run away from him. So David HaMelech say, come on, you Jew, don't be a horse. Your parnasa, nobody can take away from you. Don't go into a war. Just enjoy what Hashem gave you. Nobody can touch your parnasa. Rabbi, they opened a store across the street. They finished me. No, my friend. First, Hashem decided that this year you won't have parnasa, so he sent somebody to open a store. Not because he opened the store, you lost your parnasa. First, Hashem wanted you to lose. If Hashem wants you to have parnasa, even if he opened a store next to you, Hashem sent you the parnasa from a different place. It's no problem for him. And the second thing is, when we have problems in our life, Yisurim, we have problems. What are we doing? Running away from it. We have problems, what are we doing? Running away from it. Why don't you stop and handle the situation? People run away all the time from the truth. Run away. He doesn't have enough money, what does he do? Goes to work an extra 4 hours a day. Do you think that's going to bring you money? Thank you. You think that's what's going to bring you the money? No. No. Hashem doesn't have a problem. Hashem doesn't have a problem sending you money from 8 hours a day. He doesn't need you to work 12 hours a day. If you don't have emunah, you're going to need to work 12 hours a day, my friend. If you have emunah, you manage with 8. It's all about emunah. Some people don't need to work even an hour a day. Depends how much emunah they have in Hashem. I told you about the bird in China? No? In China, there's a bird, it's called in Hebrew shalach. Shalach. What's special about this bird? The door, please. Thank you. What happened about the bird? What happened with this bird? This bird catch fish very good. They take the bird to the lake. They put a rope around the neck of that bird. And the bird see fish inside the lake. It has a very long beak. And it goes like this. 1, 2, and there's a fish. A big salmon in the mouth of the bird. As soon as Mr. Lee see that the bird took out the fish, he pulled the rope. And it slides out of his mouth into the boat. And that's how they catch 20, 30 fish an hour. 1, 2, he pulled the rope. I'm asking a question. First time, the bird didn't know it's a trick. Second time, no. Third time, you don't get the point. Just close your mouth and don't move. Everything you catch, the Chinese will take away. We are worse than this bird. How many times we try to do the same thing and we don't learn the point? We don't learn the point. This guy Eliyahu is a kibbutznik and he raises cows. He has a farm in the north of Israel, next to Syria. One time the rabbi comes to him and say, Eliyahu is not religious. He doesn't know anything about religion. Listen to this story. He says to him, Eliyahu, do you want the religious people to buy cows from you? He said, why not? More business, better for me. He said, okay, but you know why we cannot buy from you? Why? Because every firstborn you cannot sell. It's holy. You have to separate them. You cannot sell and make profit and slaughter them. It's the Bechorot. We read it in a parasha today. So Eliyahu thinks, you know what? So you're going to give me certificate that I'm kosher? He said, I have a solution for you. Sell all your cows to the goy, like we do in chametz of Pesach. We sell the chametz to the goy that we don't have to throw it to the garbage. And sell it to the goy, and now the goy owns it, but he lets you use it. And goy makes a deal with you, you know, he gives you $1, you make a contract with him, now he owns the animals. Every male born that is born, since it belongs to the goy, it's not holy. You can eat it, no problem. The goyim can eat any animal, any cow that borns. Jews are not allowed to eat a firstborn. Cannot touch. Cannot make tefillin from that. Okay. So, I make the contract with the goy, and we give you a certificate that you're watching, and all your animals are kosher. So this guy Eliyahu was very happy. He said, Rabbi, thank you, I appreciate it. So, in the meantime, by the time the rabbi went and brought the contract, this guy Eliyahu already had one firstborn. One calf was born. So he told him, I'm sorry, since we didn't sign the contract with the goy, you own that calf, not the goy. Because the goy only gets it after you sign the paper. You didn't sign, so it belongs to you. We cannot eat it. So what? It's $4,000. What do you mean we cannot eat it? I don't care, Rabbi. Say, come on. Either you make a deal or you don't make a deal. You have to kill it. Not only have to, no. You cannot kill it. Oh, the bone was dead. He born and died. So the rabbi told him, you have to bury it. You can't give it to the coyotes to eat. You have to bury it for one reason, because it's holy. Holy, firstborn, you have to bury. You cannot just throw it to the garbage. Very interesting. So this guy Eliyahu say, what do you mean to bury? What, I'm gonna have to make a hole now to bury such a big calf? Who has patience for this? I throw him from the cliff. So the rabbi said, no, don't do it. He said, Rabbi, watch me. He take with his tractor, he picks up the calf, he goes to the cliff, he dumps the calf, he falls all the way down to the rocks. You hear, boom, finished. He said, go see downstairs. Just this week alone, I threw 10 animals there. Everything you dies, I throw down there. The coyotes come and eat them at night. A mitzvah, Rabbi. I give the animals food. Few days later, he went down to see what's going on down there. Guess what he found? All the animals, the coyotes ate and did not leave one piece of meat on it. Only bones. One animals they didn't touch. That firstborn. It's complete there. Nobody made a hole in it. For the first time in his life, he saw Hashgacha of Hashem. He called up the rabbi, Rabbi, you have to come see it. This animal, the firstborn that was born, it's complete. They don't eat it. So the rabbi told him, you see, the animals are better than you. Even the animals know this is holy. Today, this Eliyahu is a rabbi. He became religious. At least he was clever to see. He was clever to see. One woman, she's a widow with orphans. She has a big leak in her house in Israel and she needs a plumber. She looks to the yellow book and she found a plumber. The plumber comes, he says, well, ma'am, we have to break walls because the pipes start from that room and he goes here and he turns to the shower. It's a big work. It's 1 week work. We can't solve the problem here. We have to see where the leak starts. So she said, okay, what can I do? No, how much? He gives her a price. She bargains with him. He gives her 10-20% off. She sees that his price is the best. She said, okay, do the job. As he started the job, he see the lifestyle of this family and he feel horrible in his heart. He see how poor she is, They only eat eggs all day. They don't have food. The kids are crying. You see how poor this woman is. He feels bad. How am I going to charge her so much money for this job? His heart doesn't let him. So he's thinking, what am I going to do? I already told her a price. He had an idea. By the time the week is finished, he finished the job. He comes with a piece of paper to her and he says, ma'am, don't worry about the money. You don't have to pay. I got you approved by the city hall. They have a special program. They'll pay for the job. All you have to do is sign here and here. Not only it's good for you, it's also good for me. They pay me more than what I told you. Don't worry. I get paid. Bigger amount. And you don't have to pay $1. Oh, Hashem bless you. Wow, I was breaking my head. Where am I going to get this money from? No, don't worry. Sign here and here. She has few kids. They sit and they watch. They can't believe. He took the paper and he left. 20 years ago, there's a place in Petach Tikva that sells plumbing supplies. Big place, industrial place. One plumber get an order to do a whole building. Commercial job. And he needs a lot of plumbing supply. A lot. Full trucks, full of pipes. Everything they need. So he goes to Petach Tikva to get this plumbing supply. He goes inside, he gives them a list of all the things he needs. They type everything in a computer, they give him prices. So, he said, okay, let me think about it. I'll get back to you tomorrow. He took the appraisal and he left. The next day, he see a huge truck is coming to his office, to his place. They open up the truck, you see about 5-6 Israeli workers, they begin to take boxes out. So what is this? They say, you were there yesterday by our company, no? They say, yeah. So okay, so we're making the delivery. He said, what delivery? I didn't approve the order, I'm checking prices. So the guy says to him, listen man, I have other deliveries to do. Don't drive me crazy now. Let me get it off. Say, no, put it back. Take it back. I'm not interested. He said, look, deliver to this address. What do you want from me? Go over there and argue with them. What do you want from me? I'm only a delivery guy. Right away, he gets into his car. He drives quickly to that place. He gets to the place. He goes to the office. The receptionist is sitting there. He said, I don't understand. I was here yesterday. You deliver me all the stuff. I never ordered it. What, are you playing tricks? What is this? Is a new way of selling? Everything is possible in Israel. You make an apchi. Oh, I heard you order. Now he knows if he's not going to pay, who knows, with the interest, in 1 week you lose your house. You buy a little Walkman, you don't pay with the penalty and interest, a week later it's $1 million. You know, shuk shachor, shuk afor, whatever they call it. So the guy comes to her and say, ma'am, check what's going on. She types the invoice number into the computer. She says, sir, I'm very sorry. It says here to deliver by 9 a.m. and it says here paid in full. So paid in full? Now he's sure that it's a scam. He wants first to dump the merchandise. Tomorrow they'll send me a bill, they'll kill me. He said, no, ma'am, I didn't pay for anything. It's a mistake. Check again. She said, sir, do you recognize the order? He looks at the list. Yes, that's my order. That's what I asked them. She says, paid in full. Don't worry, I'm telling you, paid in full, nobody will bother you. No. Where is your boss? They're sitting upstairs, 2 brothers. Go upstairs to the office. He comes up to the office. He's all angry. He brings the paper with him. He breaks inside. He sees 2 brothers sitting in their desk. He comes and says, what is this, a new trick now? I only come to ask prices, you deliver everything. So the young guy said, don't worry, the town paid. It's approved by City Hall. He looks at him, he said, what? He said, 20 years we're looking for you. 20 years, where are you? As soon as he walked through the door, my brother recognized you right away. Remember you came to our house when we were little kids? We own everything now. It's all paid.
Wow.
Happened in Israel a few years ago, this story. That's what the Torah say. Zorei tzedakot, matzmiach yeshuot. You're planting tzedakah, salvation grows. 20 years later, not to you, to your children, don't worry. Somebody from your descendants will benefit from it. Sometimes even 500 years later. The Gemara say, why? Esther, she is the descendants of Shaul HaMelech. King Shaul has a granddaughter, Esther. What? More than 500 years passed. Because Shaul was a modest person, Hashem gave him a gift, Esther. 500 years later. For his modesty. And Shaul is a man, he doesn't have to be modest. Imagine the ladies, when they are modest, how much they gain. You know the story about Sulika, no? Sulika in Morocco?
No.
You don't know?
No.
Maybe I have to stay in Arizona another day here. Tomorrow I'm here. This girl Sulika in Morocco, she's Jewish, and the Moroccan prince, the Muslims, likes her. She's a very pretty girl. And he comes to his father, the king, I want to marry this Jewish girl. So the father says, where? The father approves. They send people to the house. Please, send us your daughter. We want her to be the new princess of Morocco. The Jews went crazy. Wow, Muslim wants to take our daughter. No, wow, we're not allowed. He said, I'm very sorry. You don't have that much of a choice. You have to send the girl. They bring the girl to the palace. And the prince told her, you know, if you marry me, you have to convert to Islam. We cannot marry a Jew. It's funny. They cannot marry a Jew. Besaram besar chamorim, the Gemara says. They cannot marry a Jew. It's hard to believe the jokes in this life. Anyway, so they cannot marry a Jew and force her to become Muslim. But of course she doesn't want. 1 week, 2 weeks, they talk to her in a nice way. Then the king lost his patience. The king says to her, listen, young girl, if you don't convert to Islam by tomorrow, we will make you convert one way or the other. You don't have a choice. You messed up with me now. She said, I don't care. I will never convert. You can kill me. I won't lose my God and my religion. The next day, they tie her to a horse with her hand like this. And the horse is about to run. And remember, this story is a few hundred years ago. So there was no roads like today. It's all stones and dust. So the horse is about to run. And the prince is begging her, please, why are you so stubborn? Just say you will. Let my father be happy. She said, on my dead body. So the king said to the horse, go. So the horse begins to run. He's dragging her on the floor. He runs. Everybody stands. All these Muslims stands by the sides to see what's going on here. Thank you. So, after about 5 minutes, but she's all bleeding, she screams, stop! So right away the king says, stop, maybe we broke her spirit. So the prince is happy. No, I knew you're going to do the right thing. She said, be quiet, you fool. I just want a safety pin. If you can bring me a safety pin. They say, safety pin? What do you need a safety? Bring me a safety pin. One Jew ran, he brings her in a safety pin. She takes the safety pin. She takes her skirt. She takes the safety pin and tie the skirt into her leg with all the blood coming out. She closed the safety pin. She said, now he can run. Why? While the horse was dragging her, her skirt was flying out. People can see her underwear. It's not modest. She's about to die in a minute or two. What does she worry about? Her modesty. And today, Jewish girls walk in the street. Rabbi, how do you like my tight jeans? It's the new style. It's new company in Paris. No wonder all these designers kill themselves. They all kill themselves. I heard when I was in LA, one woman came. Did you hear what happened? I thought maybe the Israeli bombs Iran or something. She said, Mr. McQueen killed himself. So the guy asked her, who is Mr. McQueen? The biggest designer in Europe. Hung himself, 40 years old. Ay, 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 ay. Just before we give time for questions, one more thing is we have today a very serious problem among the Jewish ladies that are already religious. And I'm talking really religious, not fake. They keep Shabbat, they pray, they read Tehillim, they get phone calls in the middle of the lectures. Everything is fine. Anyway, it's been a long time since I told you a joke. One girl came to her date. They're about to get engaged. So she asked him, one more thing I have to clarify with you before we get engaged. How much you making a year? So this guy, sitting happy with showing his nice suit and watch. Don't worry, you okay? No, tell me, how much exactly? He say $200,000 after taxes. So she says, oh. So he said, what? Oh, not good? She said, no, good, but what's going to be left for you? Today in America, the girls don't ask how much you make. They have a different way to ask. So what do? If he say driver, the date is over. If we say I'm a doctor, the date is going through. Not in Israel. In Israel it's better to clean streets than be a doctor. They don't make money. Unless if they have their own clinic, but the doctors in Kupat Cholim, $1,000 a month they make. So, one guy say, I have a girl, if you marry her, you'll be a millionaire. He said, how come? He said, well, when she married her ex-husband, she made him a millionaire. So he said, what do you mean? He said, he was a billionaire until he met her. He's a millionaire now. So, one problem we have among the religious girls is the wigs. The wigs. As you know, it's mainly an argument between Sephardim and Ashkenazim if wigs are allowed to begin with or not. By the Ashkenazi world, most of the Ashkenazi women are wearing wigs. By the Sephardic world, the biggest Sephardic rabbi today in the world, Rabbi Yosef, is very, very against it. He speaks very, very hard against it. And one of his lectures about 10 years ago, he was speaking against it, and one genius got up in front of hundreds of people, and they broadcast their lecture in a satellite to all over the world. South America, in New York, everybody sits and watch it on a big screen. So one genius got up and said, Rabbi, you've been talking against wigs so bad, and your daughter-in-law walking in Yerushalayim with a wig. His son is a rabbi, and his wife wear a wig. Guess what he answered to her? He said, there's enough place in hell for her also. Shocked them. The truth, 100%, my daughter-in-law. What's the truth? My daughter. What's the difference? My daughter are exempt from the truth? He answered right away without hesitation. let me make order in this. Not that I can bring my own opinion here, but I just want to fulfill you a little bit more about it. In the time of the Gemara said that a woman is allowed to put a wig. Which wig? They used to make wig from the wool of the sheep. They cut the wool, and they make something that, believe me, in $1 million you wouldn't agree to put on your head. And instead of covering the head with nice fashionable hats, they used to put the wool of the sheep, and they used to go all day, meh, meh. That's how it was. So today, somebody had an idea, well, since the Gemara allowed wig, let's make it a beautiful wig. And that's the problem began. However, since the Torah said that a married woman must cover her hair, that no man will see her hair, and a woman that wear a wig, she has a point. What is she going to say? Rabbi, the Torah said that no man allowed to see my original hair, right? Do you know any man that can tell you what hair I have? Nobody sees it except my husband. So I listen to God. True. She covered her hair. But she made a sin that is just as bad as before. What is it? Lack of modesty. No modesty. There are two things here. One is to cover the hair that no man see your original hair. That's one thing. Then the Torah also say, in general, ladies have to be extremely modest. By putting all these $5,000 wigs, or $500 wigs, doesn't matter, most of the time it looks even better than her own hair. Before, if she walked with her own hair, nobody looks at her. Now all of a sudden, somebody offered her marriage. Are you free to go on a date with me? I saw it in my own eyes. So what, are you crazy? I have 5 kids. The guy got so nervous. What, you married? I'm sorry, I didn't know, you know. That's what happened. This guy offered her a shidduch, a date. Other people think about her. They're embarrassed to talk to her. Who knows what they're thinking about her, thinking she's 25 with this wig. You know, it looks shiny, beautiful, fashion. And Hashem is very upset with her. So finally, if a woman decides to put a wig, she has to put such a wig that doesn't attract any attention. She puts a beautiful wig to attract attention, she has a big problem. But you should know that if you follow the chief Sfaradic Rav, Rav Ovadia Yosef, is not permitted whatsoever. Not at all. Because if he's your Rav, that's it. You got to say what he's making a psak. And if your husband is Ashkenazi and he follow his own Rav, no, it's a different story. I cannot tell the Ashkenazim what to do. They have their own rabbis. But really, if you think about it, your grandmothers in Bukhara, did they know anything about these fake wigs?
Why they didn't work?
Every picture I saw of Persians or Bukharians or Syrian ladies or Yemenites covered completely. I never saw a Bukharian woman from 80 years ago with a wig. I never saw. I don't know. I never saw. If you want to wear a wig, you can wear a wig inside your home to your husband. To her husband. To her husband, she doesn't need even a wig. If she goes into the room to be with her husband, that the kids are not there, she can take off her cover. She can be with her husband for hours without any cover. It's no problem. Saying bracha for what? For the moon?
She's eating or something.
No, when she eats, she has to put a hat, cover her head a little bit, just for the second of the bracha. She can take it off after. Shh. Just before we finished, 3 guys went to rob a bank. 1 Moroccan, 1 Yemenite, and 1 Kurdish. It wasn't Bukharian. The Bukharian is the boss that sends them on a job. He sits home and smokes his cigar with whiskey and wait for a call that the job was done. So the Moroccan goes inside.